In the last 2 episodes, we did a lot of traveling and not much exploring. In this episode, we'll be covering a lot of territory, but I want to make sure and stop and really explore a few of the locations along the way. A couple of them are planned, but the rest, we'll just see what we can find. Today is Christmas Day. It feels strange being away from the snow, but Santa brought me a beautiful sunrise to enjoy my breakfast. Then we can hit the road. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Ever since I was a kid, all I wanted to be was an explorer. Sail the 7 seas, find new worlds.
But Uncle D, everything's already been found.
What? Like everything?
Well, yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, so much for that. But if I can't be an explorer, I can still be an adventurer. So I bought a motorhome, and I'm hitting the open road. My name is Dustin Porter, and this is Destination Adventure.
Oh, her love keeps me warm. Oh, her love keeps me warm.
Our first location today is the Redman Hirahara House, just outside Watsonville, California. This house was designed by William Weeks for James Redman and built in 1897. Weeks was famous for this style of classic Queen Anne home, and 125 years later, the detail is still clear today. In 1937, the house was purchased for just under $70,000 by a naturalized Japanese American. Just 3 years later, he sold the property to his relative Fumio Hirohara for only $10. In 1942, the realities of World War II saw the Hirohara family forcefully removed from their house. They were very fortunate to be returned just 3 years later in 1945. This was not the same story for all Japanese interns. Because of this, the Hirohara family converted their carriage barn to a home and offered housing to Japanese American families that didn't have a home to return to post-war.
Oh, her love kept me warm.
Today, the house sits on private farmland, and one day at a time, slowly returns back to Mother Nature.
I'm almost in a town, a tiny little town called Moss Landing. Honestly, I don't even know if it's a town. It might just be like a settlement where a power plant is. I don't know, but we're chasing leads, and it's a pretty cool lead that I got from a guy named James. James, thanks for the lead. Really neat one. I'm gonna see if I can track this down for you. But first, we're gonna stop and check something out that I spied last night from the highway.
Traffic is ridiculous. I hate leaving the motorhome that close to the road. She's probably just terrified right now. I think I will leave Highway 1 very soon. It's getting too busy for me, and that's the whole reason I took Highway 1. I thought maybe this place was related to the lead that we're going to be looking for later. But it's an abandoned middle school. I only know that because I can see the sign on the front of it. Don't get stolen. Not much happening here. Looks like it's been shut down and boarded up for quite some time. Huh, this place is pretty big actually. Why do people have to do all this? All the wrecking and spray painting? What are you guys doing that for? Ooh, she's in rough shape.
Wow. Walking around here, seeing that basketball court just sitting empty and the wind whistling. Just an eerie feeling. Very post-apocalypse. Wow, it's still full of stuff in there. Got some computers. Huh. Surprised they left stuff in there. And I am surprised it hasn't been stolen. Good job, society. You get an extra 2 points. These trees are all overgrown and spooky looking now. Imagine how nice this would have been back in the day. Would have been a beautiful school. Well, that's it really. Honestly, happy we stopped to check this out. Pretty cool. All I could see was just a little bit of spray paint on one of these buildings as I drove by. Didn't expect this much to be in here. Constant line of traffic here. Pissing me off. After this episode, we're going inland. Okay, we're not searching for leads quite yet. We're like right down what I would consider to be Moss Landing. Spied something else from the road. Check it out. I'm guessing these are boats that have been just left here, and one of them is a substantial size sailboat. Really want to check it out. Wowee. Actually, this is a sailboat as well. This thing is huge. I was looking at this slightly more modern looking one. Look at this thing. This was probably like $1 billion at one point. Can't climb in it or anything because it is definitely 100% private property. But I had to come take a look. It's so cool. Look at the snatch block. It's wood. I think I see why they may have retired it. Looks like it got a little holy. I can also see from this crack right here, this is a cement boat, which is really cool. They don't really make these anymore. I've only seen a couple. All right, let's get out of here before we have to buy a parking pass. We have found it. I cannot believe it. It is so much more than I thought. Check this out. This is just a small part of it. And it's private property, so I can't get in there. It's so big. Oh my God.
I've been trying to come up with the highest of feelings, but there ain't nothing new under the sun.
This is Fort Ord. Actually, this is just a small section of Fort Ord. This nearly 30,000 acre stretch of coastline, now Fort Ord State Park, was once the largest military training facility in North America. More than 1 million men and women were trained at this facility, and due to its diverse landscape, it was the perfect location to duplicate and prepare for situations that soldiers would face overseas.
I pack my bags and I'll be gone. Show me roads I must roam.
Soldiers were trained here for World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, and later conflicts until its closure in 1994, after the earlier signing of the Base Realignment and Closures Act from President Bush. Fort Ord then became the largest U.S. military base in history to be shut down. There are plans to clear and utilize this land, but for now, because of asbestos and lead-based paint, it sits vacant. Been really thinking about switching up my route here and getting off of Highway 1. Ever since Santa Cruz here, this route has become way more heavily trafficked, but I see this whole section between Monterey and San Luis Obispo has pretty much nothing, so I think I'll push it for one more section. That should be a nice bit of coastline there, and maybe around Highway 46 or 41 start heading inland over towards Bakersfield. See if we can find some adventures inland a little bit. Today is kind of just a rainy, dreary day, so good day for just some traveling.
Slow down. There's nothing to get you. You can always turn it around.
If I have learned anything from traveling the last few weeks in these storms, when it's raining this hard for a day on these sketchy, windy roads, there's probably going to be a washout, so we're just going to keep on moving today.
Oh, I shouldn't have met you. Shouldn't have left you.
The only thing better than taking Highway 1 with a 56-foot rig, doing it in a storm. Just love it. Pretty touch and go here in spots. A lot of the northbound lane actually has to come into the southbound to get around the slides. But here in the southbound lane, we're doing pretty good.
Slow down. There's nothing to get you. You can always turn it around. Oh, I shouldn't have met you. I only let you down. All night in your bedroom, my thoughts were thinking loud. Oh, I shouldn't have met you.
Easy does
Shouldn't have
it.
left you.
Brand new tires on the front here, I don't want to wreck.
Shouldn't have left you. Shouldn't have met you.
Yep, this road's gonna be shut down very soon. That was still falling down as I was passing by it. Oy. Had to stop for a little break from the road. All these washouts got me sweating. And there's something on the beach here I gotta go check out. Those are elephant seals. There's so many. I don't know what they're doing here on the beach.
Don't worry, although they might look it, these seals aren't dead. They're here for mating and birthing season. Elephant seals birth and mate in harems. Only the strongest and most aggressive males will become alpha, or harem master. Through intimidation and fighting, males establish control over sections of beach, and their harem can have between 20 and 50 females. Females arrive just several days before giving birth and will care for her pup only 3 weeks. During this time, she must also fight for beach space for herself and for pup. In the short time they have on this beach, quite the transformation will happen. Mom will lose 1/3 of her body weight, baby will triple in size, and the harem master, with all of his fighting, protecting, and mating, will lose 50 pounds per day. Shortly after birth, the alpha will move in to impregnate the females, and in 1 year, they'll return to do it all again.
All right, let's get back on the road. Let these guys keep doing elephant seal things. There we go, leaving the coastline. I was hoping that the ocean was gonna be there so we could have a wave goodbye or something, but we're kind of just in between here, so heading inland. Go.
So baby, meet me down by the Roanoke River where the cool dark water meets the full moonlight. If we can sneak away, maybe we could be together. Candle by stop love tonight.
When I was up north this summer, I met somebody that was telling me about a trip that they did south, and the first time they ever saw a tumbleweed. And to me, that was just crazy because we have tumbleweeds back home, but for anyone that doesn't have the plant that creates a tumbleweed and has never seen them, they've probably only seen them in like the old school cartoons. I gotta show you guys something. I'm just pulled over here on the highway. Look at this. Oh my God. Look at it, it's like a dam of tumbleweeds. This highway, as far as you can see, this highway, there's tumbleweeds stuck against the fence here. And then in the ditch, it's just full of them. It's crazy. It is crappy weather today. Windy and storming.
So baby, meet me down by the Roanoke River where the cool dark water meets the full moonlight. If we can sneak away, maybe we could be.
Once you leave the coastline, it doesn't take long for the landscape to change from green and mountains to dry and desert. But one thing that stayed consistent is the weather. Windy and stormy here. I don't know what's going on with the weather this year, but I have not worn a short sleeve shirt since Dawson City in the Yukon. But this is definitely better than the -30 that my family is dealing with back home. So I definitely shouldn't be complaining. But this area of California, it actually has a winter storm warning for next week. So I might have to hunker down here for a few days and kind of wait that out. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Most of all, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and I'll catch you on the next one.
So baby,